We are really small and want to discover something infinitely huge. Hi, my name is Rachel, and I'm here to talk to you about this universe you are all currently sitting in and the sciences that bring it all together. A public that is well educated in space sciences is beneficial for our future. We need people to keep producing new ideas and technologies for the exploration of space. What do you know about our universe? Probably the basics. You know, how many planets are in a solar system, whether Pluto is or isn't a planet, the scale of our place in the universe. Well, the future of space exploration is huge, and we want to be interested in it. In many elementary, middle, and high schools, their education systems don't teach a lot of space sciences. According to the NSTA, National Science Teachers Association, high schools teach 5 main things, or get taught 5 main things. 1, space systems. 2, history of the Earth. 3, Earth systems. 4, weather and climate. And 5, human sustainability. This is really all about the Earth and not much about space itself. The more time goes on, the more our technologies advance, and the more Elon Musk wants to go to Mars. In the future, we're going to be exploring our universe more than ever before, now that we have the ability to leave Earth. Thank you, NASA. As kids, we are the next generation to be part of this. We wonder, but not much more than that. A lot of us just stop there. As a high school student, I have my teenager things to deal with. I have people to talk to and homework to do and other stuff like that. But so do our teachers, right? They wake up, go to school, come home, sleep, repeat. They don't always get to choose what they teach, but they come to work every morning because they enjoy working with us. At least my teachers do. We don't really have the time to learn things we aren't being taught. I want to learn how many habitable planets are out there and if there's possible plant life on any of them. But my amazing science teacher has 4 classes and no time to teach me. Only recently have I been given the opportunity to spend time researching and learning about astronomy and all the people who work hard to answer all of our questions. As a kid, you wonder, why do stars twinkle, or what's past what I can see? But school doesn't teach us much more about that. I want us to learn more. I think that it would benefit our future if we got interested, because space is a big part of our current technologies and culture. If we are using all these crazy techno products, we should know what's really behind their inner workings. You know, space exploration is something humans have been doing for years. So it's crucial to our phones, computers, and other parts of our day-to-day lives. Without satellites, we wouldn't have apps, TV, Google Maps, GPSs, you'd get lost everywhere you go, etc. We use things on a daily basis that are also great for space travel, like duct tape or Teflon, which is just extra strong duct tape. This stuff is common in our generation, and it's kind of weird that we don't really know how important space is to them. I was cruising through the TED website looking for cool space videos, because that's what I do in my free time. It was also 2 days ago. And came across a blog entitled, How to Use TED in Your Earth and Space Sciences Classroom. It's full of lessons made by TED that incorporate more space sciences into the classroom. This high school teacher, named Gordon Williamson, uses these videos to help keep students engaged and interested. This is a genius idea. TED videos are animated, if you didn't know, so a lot of kids like animated things, so add animation into a classroom and kids are interested. So if you're a teacher, this is a pro idea for your students. I got curious about the opinions on students who study astronomy now and what inspired them. I emailed a fellow high school student who had some of his space research published. He has been interested in space for a very long time, and he learned more at home than he ever did at school, and didn't start doing programs until late in high school when he could be taught instead of having to teach himself. I also talked to a radio astronomer named Melanie Croson, who learned more from her expeditions to the library than she did from her school as well, and is currently doing a master's program in it. Space is a platform for the advancement of our species in an effort to help our own situations on the ground and just to understand more about our place in the cosmos, said Melanie when I asked her why space was important to her. Personally, I've always been curious, but never much more than that. In September, my SOAR group went canoeing, and every night the sky was super clear and I could see all the stars. I wasn't super enjoying the trip the whole time, and being able to wonder what was up there helped me through that. When we got back to where I could access the internet, I researched a ton of my questions about space and why we exist here and got even more invested. I'm still learning and forever will be and want others to understand how important it is. We don't give students enough time to like what they're being taught, and we don't do enough hands-on activities relating to space. I think people would be a lot more interested if they actually got their hands on what they were learning, and things like science fairs help with that. Those like kids who are kinesthetic or visual learners see and feel what they're hearing about. For me, I can't learn without using my hands. It's probably the ADHD, but I have to be doing something with them. That's why when I discovered NASA's interactive exoplanet website, I flipped my lid. I clearly remember having to show all my group mates and couldn't get off it for an hour. There should be more things like it. A good way to encourage learning is media, right? So movies, books, music, things like that. Have any of you ever seen Twilight Zone? That's such a good show, but yeah. That's an example of a piece of media that relates to space. Kids like watching movies and reading, and so does everyone else. So why not use more of that to our advantage? I also talked to my peers and some teachers and a few other adults at my school. I asked 3 questions. 1, what they wanted to learn about space. 2, why they haven't researched it. And 3, how do they think teaching space sciences more in depth in schools could benefit not only students, but space corporations. I found a varying amount of answers, which was my goal, and my result was generally that 1, they want to know more about how the universe is expanding, space travel, and if there's life anywhere else. For question 2, the reasons they haven't researched it, is lack of time and lack of priority. And a few of them said they were too lazy. And for 3, the general answer was, if you could teach kids when they're younger and more exposed to the information, that can really influence them later on. Kids have great ideas. Sometimes we think of things that adults don't, and we have big imaginations that might lead to new discoveries. My goal from this was to find out how the curriculums could be modified to better interest in students. Because not only would that help our future, it would probably help kids pay attention more if they like what they're learning. Or allow more time to really focus before moving on to the next thing, to make sure kids actually understand it. For example, something we don't often think about is how light pollution affects astronomers. It's hard to do research by looking at the sky if it's so bright we can't even see it. The glare from our streetlights blocks the Milky Way and other planets and galaxies, but it also affects our health as humans. Living in a light-polluted city can actually give higher risk to breast cancer, according to the International Dark Sky Association. More people would enjoy the stars if they can see them, because it's hard to love a planet if you can't even see it. So, our Earth resides in our galaxy, which resides in our universe. So if we don't take care of our Earth, that affects our solar system in a way where we might be limited to learning more. Recently, my team and I went to the McDonald's Observatory for something called the Star Party. We sat in an outdoor amphitheater and got to learn about constellations and star clusters. We were there with a ton of other people who we didn't know, and it was cool how a guy with a sky laser could bring so many people from different backgrounds together to look at a sky that we all share. Getting to see the way the little kids reacted was amazing, and hearing them talk about the show afterwards was so cool. They sounded inspired and like they wanted to learn more. After the guys with us talked about our universe and our moon, we got to look through telescopes, and the man at the observatory told us to look at the star before the telescope, which just looked like one singular star in the sky, and then after the telescope, where it was actually a cluster of like 100 stars. Some of my teammates seemed slightly bored and just wanted to go back to our campsite, but a few of them, you could say, were starstruck. What looks like one star, but is really hundreds. This was helpful for kids in my school. We all have some sort of learning disability, to be able to see everything our guide talked about. What I want you to take out of this as teachers, students, and parents is maybe advocate to your kids' schools. See if they want to have an elective or a class for space sciences. Encourage experiments and hands-on activities. If you're a student, talk to a teacher or head of school about a camp or a program. As a teacher, you can see if you could add to the curriculum or incorporate space sciences into lessons. How many of you would want to go to Mars for like any reason? So like solid half maybe? I can't count. We can and will get there, but if we can't take care of our own planet, how are we going to take care of others? If we colonize on Mars, we'll have an even broader spread of the universe to cover and explore. But that's a lot of responsibility. We would then have to take care of a whole new planet. It'd be less difficult if we teach space sciences at a younger age, because if they learn to love not only our Earth, but our universe, that could prevent habits like littering or other things that hurt our planet. If they know how it affects not just us, but our planet and also our universe and everything else up there. We live in it and it's ours to protect. Ad astra per aspera, which means through hardships to the stars.